This project never ceases to amaze me because I'll never know what I'll discover. Thank you for joining us. I'm Nick from Operation Brightstone, where we clean military grave markers and we honor our heroes by preserving their stories. Today we're here at Forest Hills Cemetery in Philadelphia, just over the city border, which cuts through this cemetery. I live across the street and I walk past here frequently. One day I came across the gravesite of this sailor, which really piqued my interest, and it confused me a little bit. Thomas A. Christensen died at the age of 18 in Korea. The initials PH on his grave marker indicates that he was awarded the Purple Heart, and NC signifies the Navy Cross, the second highest award after the Medal of Honor. Those designations I already knew, but what really puzzled me was his grade, DN. So, of course, I had to hit the internet, where I found out that DN stands for Dentalman, which is basically a dental technician. I also found out that the Marines sponsor a yearly award called the Dentalman Thomas A. Christensen Jr. Memorial Award, given to the most outstanding member of the dental corps. So how did an 18-year-old dental technician achieve such an honor? And why did he win the Navy Cross? Stay tuned as I clean his grave and tell his story. When I first started to research the short life of Dentalman Christensen, I thought I'd have very little to talk about. But as I dove deeper, I uncovered fascinating facts and associations that gave me almost too much to discuss. So let's get started, from the beginning, of course. Thomas Andrew Christensen Jr. was born in Philadelphia on January 23, 1932. His father, Thomas Sr., was born in Norway, and his mother, Elizabeth, in Scotland. He was their firstborn, and 3 years later, his sister Barbara was born. She would be his only sibling. Thomas was raised in the Kensington section of Philadelphia. At the time, this was a vibrant working-class neighborhood, as his father worked as a welder in an aluminum foundry. His childhood home was recently razed to make way for new construction. But if you look at the neighboring homes that still stand, you can get an idea of his modest upbringing. Thomas attended Mastbaum Vocational High School. This was the neighborhood public school, and since my mother was raised in the same neighborhood, she also went there. She was only 2 years older than Thomas, so they were in the building at the same time, and most likely passed each other in the hallway several times. And they may have ridden on the same trolley to school since they lived along the same route. These may seem like trivial facts, but when I find facts like this, it connects me closer to the story in a personal way that I can't fully explain. Thomas enlisted in the Navy on March 22, 1949, at the age of 17. There was an ongoing draft at the time, but because he was under the age of 18, he would have had to volunteer to join. And, just like my uncle, a parent would have had to sign off on his enlistment because he was still a minor. His Navy enlisted classification was Dentalman, which is a dental technician. Like I said in the introduction, I had no clue what the abbreviation DN on his grave marker stood for. As I researched that designation online, I was immediately brought to the Wikipedia page for the Navy Dental Corps. As I read the page and scrolled down to the section on the Korean War, my jaw hit the ground when I saw Christensen's name being mentioned. The page stated that the Dental Corps had 1,900 dentists and 4,700 technicians, and he was the only one mentioned by name. Right then and there, I knew this would be a story worth telling. The Navy Dental Corps was established in 1912 and consisted of dental officers, which were dentists, and dentalmen, who were dental assistants. During peacetime, dentalmen would assist dentists and provide standard dental services to enlisted personnel, but during wartime, many would serve as battlefield medics, treating all injuries, but with advanced training in injuries of the face. In World War II, Navy Dentalman were attached to 3 Marine divisions and 19 CB units. The Korean War was the first time that members of the Dental Corps marched shoulder to shoulder into battle with Marines. They wore the same uniforms as the Marines, displaying their dental rating patch on the shoulder, and most wore the Red Cross armband and carried documentation showing that they were medics as mandated by the Geneva Conventions. Dentalmen who served with the Marines were trained to use weapons and often carried defensive sidearms into combat. The Geneva Conventions state that medical personnel cannot be asked to sacrifice themselves without resistance when their unit is attacked. Dentalman Christensen detached from the Navy and was attached to the 1st Amphibian Tractor Battalion of the 1st Marine Division. Like I said earlier, this was the first time that Dentalman marched shoulder to shoulder with Marines. I've read accounts from Marines stating that any soldier who fought with the Corps is considered a Marine brother for life. In late October of 1950, Christensen's battalion was part of the invasion of Wusan. The port was easily taken, and the Marines were tasked with transporting vehicles and machinery from transport ships to a nearby rail station. Wusan was a key port city in North Korea that had direct access to an elaborate railway system, which is important to our story. Railroads were vital to both sides in the Korean War. 95% of all supplies cleared at these ports were moved to their destination by train. From a logistical perspective, it was by far the most efficient way to move personnel and equipment across the mountainous terrain, which had no major roadways and few landable airfields. Conveniently, the Japanese military already developed an elaborate rail system when they colonized Korea prior to World War II. Both the UN and communist forces saw the importance of using rail transport. Both sabotaged railways used by the enemy, often destroying the tracks, and the communist forces would frequently ambush trains. And that brings us to our story. In early November 1950, Dentalman Christensen's battalion was preparing for what many historians believe to be the most physically brutal battle in Marine Corps history. It's a battle that many never heard of. I'll talk more about that later. The commanding officer's official diary gives us a clear understanding of the events. On the 6th of November, Christensen was assigned to a 38-man train guard in charge of delivering equipment and supplies to Northern troops. According to the diary, the train departed the Wusan station at 6:30 p.m. and headed north. 25 miles into its journey, the train was halted by railroad officials at Kowan because enemy forces destroyed the rails ahead. While the train sat idle in the darkness, it was ambushed by enemy forces at 10 p.m. The total number of guerrillas was unknown, but it was estimated to be 200 North Korean soldiers. The Marines attempted to reverse the train, but the enemy shot the engineer and put a hole in the boiler with grenades. In the mayhem, the guard became separated into 2 groups. Christensen was in the smaller group of 10 men who were surrounded in the rail car. The North Koreans fired through both sides of the train, forcing the Marines to the floor. As the enemy pressed the attack with small arms, automatic weapons, and hand grenades, Christensen ran into the line of fire to treat wounded Marines and pull them to a position of cover. He sustained a bullet wound, but continued to treat his injured comrades. Of the 10 men, 8 lost their lives, and 2 were wounded, one of the 2 being Dentalman Christensen. As the second larger group of 28 men retreated to a position atop a railroad embankment, they were able to return fire and secure one side of the train. The enemy temporarily retreated, and after regrouping, they mounted a second attack. Despite being previously injured, Christensen bravely continued his role as a medic in the line of fire. But, unfortunately, it was during the second attack that he lost his life. Once the enemy determined that it achieved its goal of disabling the train, they broke off the engagement.
When you consider that the life expectancy of a combat medic during a firefight is a mere 6 seconds, Christensen bravely defied the odds. In total, 9 Marines lost their lives and 8 were seriously wounded. I was only able to find the name of one of the lost Marines, Private Harold Wade Keller of West Virginia. If you are near Cinco, West Virginia, consider visiting his gravesite and see that it is well maintained.
This is just a quick break. I hope you're enjoying the video of Dentalman Christensen and find the content meaningful. And if you do, please be sure to like, more importantly, subscribe to our channel and drop us a comment. I really like the feedback. I'm here doing the voiceover for our next video. I just bought a professional microphone with the pop filter and this acoustic thingy. So the quality of the sound in future videos will be much better. And let me tell you, we have some great stories. So please be on the lookout for all of it. And I want to add one extra thing. Everything that we do on this channel is a human effort done by me and my family. There's no AI in the production of our videos. It comes from our heart and our hard work, and it's a labor of love. We love doing it. So now back to the video. Thank you so much for your support.
Dentalman Christensen's actions during the ambush were witnessed and reported by those who survived. For his display of courage and devotion to duty, he became the first dental technician to receive the Navy Cross, the second highest award given in the Navy, just after the Medal of Honor. Along with being part of Navy history, Dentalman Christensen was part of Marine history. The operation that he was involved in culminated into the fiercest battle of the Korean War in the most adverse conditions in Marine history. This was the Battle of the Chosin Reservoir, also known as the Battle of Lake Changjin. This battle occurred between November 27th and December 13th. It was the first major engagement between the US and Chinese forces and the biggest one to date. The Chinese army attacked the Marines by surprise, surrounding them on all sides of the reservoir. The Marines were outnumbered 8-1. However, the biggest enemy was the weather. The temperature went below negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. This also calculates to be negative 40 degrees Celsius. And that's not a mistake, as I was surprised to find out that negative 40 degrees is the only temperature where both units of measurement have the same value after you do the conversion. And no matter what unit of measurement you use, negative 40 degrees is damn cold. In fact, it was so cold that weapons malfunctioned, medication and blood plasma became frozen solid, rendering them unusable for the injured, and thousands of soldiers from both sides literally froze to death, mostly Chinese. Most of the survivors suffered some level of frostbite. The Marines that were involved in the battle are often referred to as the Frozen Chosen. Both sides fought fiercely to a stalemate, but the Chinese claimed victory because they halted a feared invasion into China, which most likely would not have happened from a strategic perspective, despite MacArthur's crazy threats to do so. Despite resulting in the highest number of Medal of Honor recipients per capita in U.S. history and being considered by many historians to be the Marine Corps' finest moment, this battle gets little recognition in the United States, and I'd bet most of you never heard of it. But this is not the case in China, where this battle is now legendary and a source of national pride. In 2021, a movie called The Battle of Lake Changjin was released in China. Despite being released during the COVID lockdown, it quickly became the highest-grossing movie in Chinese history and the highest-grossing war movie of all time worldwide. I watched this movie, and although it wasn't close to American movie standards, it wasn't that bad. It was funded by the Communist Party, but it didn't seem to have any more propaganda than our 1960s war movies. In fact, they made the American soldiers out to be somewhat admirable and fierce warriors. They did conveniently leave out a lot of key facts to make themselves look better, though. I'd give it a 6 out of 10, and you can stream this movie on Amazon, but a better use of your time would be to watch the PBS documentary called The Battle of Chosin. This will give you a better understanding of the battle and what the men went through. I'm bringing up this battle to give it recognition and show the magnitude of events that Christensen was part of. And had he survived the train ambush, he would have been subjected to 2 weeks of pure hell as a member of the Frozen Chosen. And he may not have come out alive. If you ever visit the National Marine Museum, check out the immersive Frozen Chosen exhibit. As a tribute to his heroism and devotion to the Marines and his country, the Navy Dental Corps created the Dentalman Thomas A. Christensen Jr. Award in his honor. This yearly award recognizes the top dental technician who demonstrates a high level of excellence, mastery, and contribution to the operating forces. Being the namesake of this prestigious award and receiving the Navy Cross is a testament to the courage and great character of this young man. In my opinion, we use the term hero way too often. However, Dentalman Christensen is a true hero, and very few people in history have achieved such a title by the age of 18. His bold sacrifice for our country should never be forgotten. From the bottom of my heart, I thank him, I thank his family, and I thank you for watching. May Dentalman Christensen rest in peace, but live forever.
Well, I think it turned out pretty good. There is some corrosion on the patina that you can't get off, but got all the dirt off and cleaned up the slab, so it's looking pretty good. I put the rocks back the way they were and cleaned up the medallion. So it's looking good, more deserving of someone who gave their life to our country. So thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please donate. Every little bit helps. Until next time, take care and thank you.